Hello and welcome to Stretford Paddock. This is the news. It is Tuesday the 17th of February. There's a lot to get into today. We're looking at this report from Jurgen Klopp's agent that Manchester United approached him for the role as manager of Manchester United. We'll get into all of that. We've also got a load of transfer stories as well. Some ridiculous, some possible, and some just genuinely absurd. And also a look at a potential summer tournament over in Saudi Arabia that Manchester United have reportedly been offered. There's loads to get into today. This Klopp stuff is absolutely ridiculous. It is wild. Let's read the story initially, and then we'll have a look at whether we think it's true. So Jurgen Klopp's agent claims that Man United and Chelsea approached ex-Liverpool boss about becoming the new manager after he left Liverpool, while the German could have taken England job. So this is Jurgen Klopp's agent who's come out and spoke. He's called Mark Kosicki there, as you can see in the middle. Manchester United and Chelsea both approached Jurgen Klopp to become their manager after he left Liverpool, according to his agent. But his agent says that Klopp was subject to interest from two Premier League giants, claims rejected by Man United and Chelsea, which we're going to get into in a minute, and could have had the USA or England jobs if he wanted. First of all, let's get this USA job out of the way, first of all. Obviously, he could have had the USA job, no offence, but I don't get it. There's a weird sort of detachment between the way people outside of the USA talk about the USA national team and seemingly, at least the way that the viral clips coming out of the USA talk about their own national team. Like, no, why would the USA job even be on the radar? Who cares? They're like, what are they, like the sort of 30th or 40th best nation in the world? Why would that even be an option? Or the England job if he'd have wanted. Before joining Red Bull, Jurgen could have coached the USA or England, said his long-term representative Mark Kosicki in an interview with German website Transfer Market. Probably also Germany if Nagelsmann hadn't already been there. He's just chucking probablys in there now. That's just, probably could have had that job as well. Probably could have had your job. What do you do? Yeah, he could have had that. Could have been a journalist or something. Even Chelsea and United inquired, although Jurgen had clearly stated that he would not coach any other club in England. These inquiries keep coming. I mean, he states a lot of things, doesn't he, Jurgen Klopp? He states that Liverpool don't have the transfer funds and the money to spend 100 million on players, then goes and does it. He states that hasn't he stated his hostility towards the Red Bull project in the past, and then goes and is one of their sort of leading men there. He states a lot of things, but then typically doesn't really have the backbone or the personality to stick to his convictions and stay with them. So who cares what he says realistically, because his actions are often different to what he says anyway. He's extremely happy with what he's achieved, and it's still wonderful to go down in history of one of the few coaches who only managed 3 clubs and were never fired. No, that's not a thing. No one's looking at that. No one cares. Oh, he's only managed 3 clubs. Brilliant. Love that. And he was never fired. So, who cares? Why don't you... That's not... Go down in history as one of the few coaches who managed 3 clubs. We can all name those coaches, can't we, guys? The one thing we all keep track of isn't trophies, isn't long-term success. It's who managed exactly 3 clubs and was never fired. That's just a constant list that every football fan has got in their head. Obviously, Jurgen Klopp springs to mind immediately, but let's not forget the others that we all think about all the time. What's that? It's wonderful to go down in history as one of those coaches, isn't it? God, if there's one thing we all dream for as kids, it's to be one of those coaches that's managed 3 clubs exactly and never been fired from any of them. That is the real Mount Rushmore of football coaching. When approached for comment, both United and Chelsea denied the agent's claims. Of course they did. I mean, I know Adam McCullough said that he wouldn't mind Jurgen Klopp managing Man United, but this is clearly absolute nonsense, isn't it? This has to be absolute nonsense. And this sounds like, to me, an agent that is just running his mouth, getting a bit excited, saying, yeah, he could have had any job, to be honest. United, Chelsea, could have had the Germany job if they didn't already have a manager and they hadn't offered it him and nothing ever happened on that front. Sounds like he's just, I don't know, an absolute gobshite. Yeah, he's extremely happy with what he's achieved. He could have had the USA job, the Germany job, the England job, the Man United job, the Chelsea job. But what he wants to do is, what's his current role? Let's just double check the exact title that he's got right now. Widely regarded as one of the greatest managers of all time. All right, chill out. He's head of global soccer for Red Bull since January 2025. That was his real aim, wasn't it? To keep that absolute shit show of an organisation going. I mean, get your thoughts in the comments. Would you have Jurgen Klopp at Man United? That's the first question. If it was an option, if this was true, which I don't think it is, although it is his agent and his sort of representative saying it, so I think it's worth talking about, because whether it's real or not, you've got someone that is theoretically very credible, who might know if this was true, talking about it and claiming that it is true. Obviously, Man United have denied it, but then we've seen before, why are Man United any more or less likely to lie about this than Jurgen Klopp's representative is? Now, obviously, because Jurgen Klopp is a Liverpool figure, a sort of a villain figure, if you will, in terms of United, his relationship with Man United, that doesn't mean that his agent is any more likely to lie than Man United are. And we always have this thing with footballers as well, where it's like, oh, they've come out and denied this story, or like on their you'll see on their Instagram story or whatever, a footballer will come out and deny a story from a newspaper. And sometimes that's fair enough. It's a lie, it's not true, it's exaggerated, whatever. But sometimes, we've seen it before where players have come out, like Jadon Sancho came out and argued with the manager on Twitter. One of them's lying, and one of them's a player or the manager of Man United. Like, we've seen it before where players will come out and deny a story from a newspaper, and they're the ones that are lying. So you can't always just assume that because United have come out and denied it, therefore it's false. Obviously, if we've approached Jurgen Klopp to be the new manager, that is something that we would want to keep on sort of under wraps a little bit, isn't it? That's slightly embarrassing for Man United to have done that, especially to have been rejected. So I don't know whether I necessarily believe that Man United haven't done this just because they've denied it. The reason I don't believe it is because it doesn't make any sense. But I think this whole thing of United have already denied it, therefore case closed. Well, of course they're going to deny it. They can just lie in the same way that Jurgen Klopp's agent can lie. Man United can lie. What does everyone think? People say no way, no how. United publicly humiliating themselves. Just heard he's in for your job, Joe. He loves a watch along, and he's always had his eye on doing a pod with Joe McGrath. You can have it. You're welcome to it, Jurgen. Big shoes to fill, mate. That's all I'll say. And even bigger teeth. The piss it would involve. Yeah, it would be quite exciting, wouldn't it? There's two sides of the story, and then there's the truth. The thing is, we don't know the truth, do we? All we know is this has been reported and then denied by Manchester United. How they think they wouldn't be rejected. That is the reason why I think this isn't true. I think that Man United, I don't see what benefit there is for us to say that, to approach him. What circumstances could he have been approached? I don't know. What does an approach mean? Would he be up for managing anyone else in England? No. Okay. Or is it we want him to manage Manchester United, 12 million quid a year? ... Well, is he up for it? No. That's a straight up rejection. Approached could mean so many different things, but I don't. Just because United have denied it, that doesn't cement it as false for me. I think the reason I don't believe it is because, as people have mentioned there, it doesn't make any sense. Of course, he wouldn't join Manchester United. It would be mad to think that he would. Chelsea, on the other hand, that would make more sense, wouldn't it? But again, they've denied it. So, someone's lying here, aren't they? And this isn't just a journalist coming up with this. This is a quote from his agent. Which you think as well, if you're Jurgen Klopp, do you know what we used to talk about with Paul Pogba and Mino Raiola, didn't we? Where the timing of what the agent says, people mentioned it with Kobbie Mainoo and his brother and the free Kobbie t-shirt and all that. The timing of it, from someone that is as close to you as they are, is always going to raise questions about, did you know about this? Did you know your brother was going to wear that shirt? Did Paul Pogba know that Mino Raiola was going to come out and talk about Pogba leaving just before we've got a crucial Champions League game, I think the next day or a couple of days earlier? Does Jurgen Klopp know his agent has come out and said this? Because if he does, then we have to question what is the angle here. And to me, that would lean towards he's trying to get back into management and wants to signal to people that is an option. If he doesn't, what are you doing now if you're Jurgen Klopp? And you're just going to ring your agent and go, sorry, have you just said that Man United wanted to sign me? If that's a lie. Like, to me, I think, just obviously, like I said, I don't think this is true, but to just look at the full spectrum of possibilities here, it's more likely to me that United would do this and then deny it than it is a singular person who represents Jurgen Klopp would come out and make up this crazy lie that Manchester United approached him to sign. Either with or without the say-so from Jurgen Klopp. That would be mental, wouldn't it? That he would just come out and say, yeah, United wanted him. And Jurgen Klopp's like, no, he didn't. No, they didn't. Why have you said that? So, like I said, I don't believe this to be true, but I wouldn't say it's impossible. I really wouldn't, because it's a bizarre thing for someone to come out and say as a representative of Jurgen Klopp. Maybe it's just trying to sort of stick the knife in a little bit to United and add this layer of uncertainty when we know obviously that Klopp is a Liverpool guy. We'll have to wait and see. People saying it's definitely a PR thing. I don't know what the PR is though. He's fishing for a job after the World Cup, Gary. I completely agree with you. That's what it is. He's probably looking for Liverpool to bring him back. I won't be surprised. I think he's done a little pep sabbatical, and he's probably missing the excitement that actually comes from being on the touchline winning games rather than in a boardroom talking about long-term transfer plans. Speaking of transfer plans, let's just get this in and then get this out. This is coming out of Barcelona, or from a Barcelona tabloid. Jude Bellingham has a deal in place to leave Real Madrid if Jurgen Klopp takes over as manager. Now, this is another step forward. So, obviously, people talking about Klopp maybe going back to Liverpool. He also could go to Real Madrid. And this is according to elnacional.cat, which I guess is short for Catalonia. Jude Bellingham has already taken a precautionary measure in anticipation of a managerial change. The English midfielder is considering leaving the club if Jurgen Klopp is appointed as the new manager. Those close to him believe such a move would diminish his role within the team, an idea that Bellingham strongly dislikes. Why would it? What is this about? The British international believes that Klopp's arrival would entail a complete reconfiguration of the system. Bellingham has been a pillar of the team, etc. The possibility of his role diminishing is not an appealing scenario for him, so he has plans to, nor is it something he plans to accept, right? Where do United feature into this? Here we go. Given this uncertainty, the player has reportedly reached an agreement in principle with Manchester United to facilitate an immediate departure should a change in management occur. The move is solely contingent on Klopp's arrival. If the German coach does not land at the Santiago Bernabeu, the midfielder intends to remain at the club. I mean, of all the bollocks in the world, this is right up there, isn't it? So what? Bellingham, we're just there going, yeah, we'll be your little escape plan. We're going to plan our summer window around bringing in one of the biggest stars in world football, but only if Jurgen Klopp joins Real Madrid. Assuming that Bellingham has any issue at all with Jurgen Klopp coming in, which why would he? Then assuming that Man United are willing to entertain this. Then assuming that Bellingham wants to join Manchester United. This is the ultimate bollocks of all bollocks, isn't it? Absolute nonsense, that. Absolutely. Speaking of nonsense, let's get into the next one as well, because it is. You can tell United haven't played for a few days because all of the stories coming out are utter garbage. Manchester United consider a shock Alexis MacAllister transfer raid. I mean, how many words are we getting in here? Consider, shock, transfer, raid, fierce rivals. Manchester United would be interested in signing World Cup winner Alexis MacAllister if he became available this summer. So many ifs, buts and maybes here. Man United are weighing up, that's another one, we're getting them all today, aren't we? Weighing up a shock raid on bitter rivals Liverpool for Alexis MacAllister. Right, before we read any more of this, I'm going to Google right now, last transfer between Man United and Liverpool football. When was it? The last direct transfer between Liverpool and Man United was back in 1964, when the Reds signed forward Phil Chisnell for £25,000. Even further back was the last player to join Man United from Liverpool. Okay, so the last time a player joined Manchester United from Liverpool was Ted Savage for £1,500 in 1937. You can't get a fucking stick of RAM for £1,500 anymore. That's how long ago that transfer happened. This is utter garbage. Is he out of contract? He's not even, is he? What's going on? So we're going to make the first transfer directly from Liverpool to Manchester United in 90 years for Alexis MacAllister, are we? Sausage. This is just sausage meat in an article, innit? Let's move on to our next one. Now this one feels a bit more likely just because it's a name that isn't directly linked to Liverpool FC. This is Nmecha here. Felix Nmecha, not to be confused with his brother who plays for Leeds, and what's his name? Lukas Nmecha. This is a midfielder. He's 25 years old, sort of box-to-box kind of marauding type player. Gets the odd goal here and there. But again, it says he's at a crucial point in his career, having overcome early injury problems and developed a dominant force in the Dortmund midfield. The 25-year-old is now attracting significant interest from from the Premier League Elite. Now, this is from Fußballdaten, which, what does that mean? Football Day? We could always translate that another time. Dortmund's fair value strategy. Although Dortmund highly rates his physical and technical development, the club's focus is on financial sustainability, and as that has opened the door for potential departure. Dortmund are reported to have set a minimum transfer fee of 45 million to 55 million. I love it when they do that. I love it when you see they would consider a fee between 45 and 55. 45 then. Like, why would United go 45 and 55? 55? He could have had it 10. You could have had him 10 million cheaper. That's 25% off. Oh yeah, shit. I just heard 45 to 55 and thought I like 55 because that's how old my uncle is. Like, obviously, there's no reason whatsoever you would pick the higher number of the two. 45 then, obviously, unless obviously United go for some sort of better arrangement on how the pricing is done, whatever, and how the fee is paid. He's one to keep an eye on. I don't think anyone reliable has linked him just yet. So I think for me, this is one where it's very much a wait and see. Let's go to this Saudi story, and this will be our last story of the day. This is an interesting one. According to Times Sport, obviously behind a paywall, the Saudi Pro League are preparing an £18 million offer for Manchester United to play their 2026 pre-season in Saudi Arabia during July and August. Now, what I will say is, work is probably well underway for this season's pre-season tour. We usually find out in March, April at the latest where the tour is. Then the dates get firmed up over the next couple of months. So I would assume United have already made contact, if not already have agreements in place for this summer. Maybe not. Maybe it is around this time, February, early March, and then we typically find out, or you start hearing rumours around mid-March, early April, because obviously typically we tend to go on the tours as well. This would obviously be loads of money for United. I don't know how much they made last season. Let's try and find that. See how much they made last year. Around £7.5 million or £8 million from the pre-season tour in the after the 24-25 season. So it would be clearly at least double that, which is a lot of money. Saudi Arabia again are really pushing, aren't they, to be seen as a much more kind of relevant and mainstream face in football. Whether United do this or not is interesting. It does seem as though it's something that, there's talks of a mid-season little trip, wasn't there, over the last week, which United ended up not doing. This to me feels like a logical next step towards doing something there. But we'll obviously have to wait and see. Nothing confirmed yet. And like I said, I'd be surprised if United weren't already deep in discussions for where they're going to be on tour. This also could have been going on for a while. That's the other thing to remember. Saudi Arabia lodged this £80 million bid. They could have done that 6 weeks ago, 2 months ago, 6 months ago, for all we know. But the news may just be coming out now. So the timing of that obviously isn't necessarily directly related to how likely it is. It's just one worth keeping an eye on. And again, for a lot of people, how relevant even is it where United go on pre-season tour? I guess if you live there, then it makes it a lot easier. But most people are watching the pre-season tour games from home. Just the very nature of United being around different parts of the world, it's not an easy thing to get to. So we'll have to wait and see on that front. But that's going to be all from me. We've got a lot coming up today. We've got all sorts, actually. We've got me and Steve coming up later on. We're going to be chatting about Michael Carrick. And also, we've got Laurie Whitwell in the studio as well. So make sure you stay tuned for that. We're going to be going through Man United's manager shortlist, transfer shortlist, the latest on the ramifications of Jim Ratcliffe's statements from last week. There's tons to get into with him, so stay tuned to Stretford Paddock for all that. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. This has been The News. We'll see you in a bit.